The viewer asked if you could explain the Catholic concept of sacrifice.
Well, sacrifice is either enduring something distasteful or denying oneself of something that is pleasant and appealing. It is really a kind of mortification, putting to death the natural desires for pleasure, for relief from pain, discomfort, and a willingness to endure hardship and to deny oneself for the love of God, really. It comes down to that. It's a matter of sacrifice. There are four purposes for sacrifice. In other words, there are four reasons why you or I or anyone can say, "Oh Lord, I will deny myself this pleasure, whatever it might be, this satisfaction, or I will endure some hardship or cross and patiently carry it. Through adoration, I will use that as a means of saying, God, you are my sovereign Lord and Savior, and have said that unless one takes up his cross daily and follows you, they cannot be your disciple. So I'm willing to endure this splinter from your cross out of love for you." So the first purpose is adoration to God. The second would be contrition. When I say, well, God, I didn't always adore you. There were times when, in fact, I crossed you and sinned against you. And so I'm offering this in reparation for that, too, as an act of adoration now to make up for the times when I failed you and when I defied you. And then there's a third purpose, thanksgiving. I might say, well, God, I thank you for this great favor. I realize that every great grace or favor requires some sacrifice, and I'm offering this sacrifice for that, in gratitude to you for that. And secondly, and fourthly, the purpose of supplication, saying, oh God, I'm offering this, carrying this cross in order to present myself before, to show you that I'm serious when I ask you for this great grace. And I'm willing to pay the price, whatever it is. It's that important to me. So I will carry the cross for that. Now, there are various kinds of sacrifice. I mean, you're hearing about people who whipped themselves and people who denied themselves, who lived, even in, like St. Peter of Alcantara, would throw open the windows in the winter for the cold, and he lived with the cold, and he offered that up for sinners. And that's fine. I mean, he chose those, and those are real sacrifices that he chose. But there are many, many sacrifices we're called upon to make that we don't basically choose for ourselves. These are sacrifices that come to us just from living in the life we have here. Putting up with this, putting up with that, disagreeable person, disagreeable situation, poverty, illness, you name it. And accepting those is sometimes more difficult because it's not my choice, right? I mean, I'd almost be very happy if I could just sort of name the sacrifices I was willing to offer, if I could pick them off the shelf, but I can't. And it's the sacrifices that God imposes upon us that we haven't chosen that sometimes are the most difficult because they tend to offend our pride. Sacrifices we choose for ourselves can feed our pride. Sacrifices that are imposed upon us from outside, much less so can they really appeal to our pride because they're kind of humiliating in a way, humbling. Well, there are people who are humiliated by these things that happen to them that they can't control, and they become angry. They're humiliated by these things. But there are people who are humbled by them, and there's a huge difference between being humiliated by them because you will not allow yourself to be humbled by them. You're fighting against them. But the humble one is the one who accepts them wholeheartedly and says, this is from the hand of God, and I gratefully accept this, that God has deemed me worthy to carry this cross for him. And I will carry it for him as much as he wants, as far as he wants, as long as he wants. And I will try, again, by the grace of God, to do so patiently.